My name is Sean Zerbis, the Director of BIM Development here at CTC Software, and in today's session, we're going to continue the HIVE CMS User Learning Series, focusing very closely today on updating content tags. As always, our webinars are recorded, and also, as always, we encourage you to throw questions into the questions window while we're going over this content, and we try to answer them live if possible. And of course, we save a huge area for questions and answers at the end as well. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, tagging in HIVE can be another fantastic method of filtering content in the HIVE CMS. You as end users of HIVE, as consumers of content, you actually can play a pretty big part in the usefulness of those tags, and that's pretty important. If you're a contributor in the system, you're allowed to update tagging on content, that is, adding and removing tagging from content. And what that really does is it increases the ability to filter in some cases and find exactly what you're looking for in the CMS. In this webinar, I want to show you exactly how to update your tagging and how to use those tags in your own searching. So that's kind of what we're going to focus on today. We're going to go over a couple of major things. Understanding the filtering controls. So for tagging specifically, we're going to create a tag association with content and with a couple of pieces of content. We're also going to disassociate some tags from some content. And we're going to validate that what we think we've done with tagging actually has taken effect by looking at the content details to see what tags are there and potentially what other things I might be able to use for filtering as well. So since I'm not big on death by PowerPoint, let's jump in live. So let's take a look at the tag filtering controls here. In the HIVE CMS specifically, of course, from the home page here, you have the ability to work with tags. Tags right there gives you direct access to all of the tags currently associated to content in the system somewhere, somehow. So, for example, say I was looking for doors swing. I could click on this and it would run a search, and let me stretch my window just a little bit wider here, and find me all of the items that somehow match the tag of doors swing. This also, when you're normally just in a regular search, you can do the same thing. Tags right here, if I wanted to switch to something else, like, I don't know, doors double, I could do that and reapply this. It would give me items that were tagged as doors double. So this filter works very much the same as library filters that we've already looked at. It works the same as Revit category filters and pretty much any other filter in the HIVE CMS system. It's just an additional one. The important thing about tags is that it is a subjective filter, a subjective property on content. That means it's not automatically put on it by something other than us, the end users. And so let me show you how you have the ability to associate a tag to a piece of content. So I'm going to tab over here and I'm going to right click on swing double, okay? Any piece of content that exists in the HIVE CMS, you can right click on it. When you right click, now I had details open, so it also pulled up the details, and we're going to come back to this later on. But if I right click on this, I can go into manage tags and I can assign additional tags right through here. Manage tags, assign tags. When I assign tags, anything that I check will be applied to the door, or in this case, the piece of content that I had selected. So let's just say, in this case, that this particular door was useful on a specific project. So I have a client, CTC Software here, and I always want this swing double door to be used on client CTC Software's projects. It's just one of the things that I want. And so I can check that box and hit select. And what it will do is it will apply that tag to that piece of content. Now, if I click away and select it again, you'll notice that in the details pane over here, and once again, you can access the details pane by clicking on the details button here. Just to the right of filters, there's details. That'll let you see all of the details of a selected piece of content. And in this case, you'll notice that tags has now associated client CTC software. So if I was to filter for that, we'll go ahead and do that. Drop down my filters. I'm going to uncheck doors double. I don't want that one anymore. What I do want is client CTC software. And I can apply that, and it'll find me anything in my library that's been tagged, or libraries that has been tagged as client CTC software. And it looks like there's only one item at this point. So let me uncheck that and reselect doors double again and reapply this so I can get a few more items on screen. Now you can associate tags to more than one item at the same time. If I select swing double and maybe door curtain wall double storefront and door curtain wall double glass, I can select all three of those and right click, and once again I have the ability to manage tags and I can assign tags. So if I wanted all of them to be associated to client CTC software, I can go ahead and select that. All four of them now will be updated to client CTC software, and the swing double door that was already associated, it doesn't get a double association, it just is associated. It already was, so nothing actually changed, and that's okay. But I now have that associated to all three of these particular doors. Okay? Now at the same time, sometimes it's important to disassociate tags. If something got associated that we didn't want, and we want to disassociate that, we have to know how to do that as well. So if I select, say, door curtain wall double glass and door curtain wall double storefront, both of those will do a twin selection this time, two at the same time. You can right click. Once again, it's manage tags, but instead of assigning tags, we're going to remove a tag or multiple tags. Now when you do assign or remove, I want to point something out. There is the ability here at the top to check all. I would probably never check all to assign tags to something. But there are times I may want to remove all of the tagging from something. It's rare, but it's happened. Typically, I'll usually check something very specific that I know that I want to remove. I also want to point something else about this list. Okay? I'm going to, before I select this and cancel, or before I select this and apply it, I'm going to select on these guys again and assign tags, and I want to point something out. Backsplash, BIM manual, client CTC software, MSI tech, REI company. 3 clients in the list. Codes, details, a bunch of other things in this list. A bunch of disciplines down here. DI for me stands for discipline. There's a bunch of them in the list. Okay, there's a whole long list of things, but I want you to focus on the fact there's 3 clients here in the list. If I cancel this list right now, and I right click, and I go back to manage tags, remove tags, notice how the discipline list is a little shorter, and I also only have 2 clients. And BIM manual isn't in this list either. And that seems kind of odd at first. But I want to point out that HIVE is sort of helping you out a little bit. If you were thinking that client REI companies, or whatever the name was assigned to something, and you right-click to disassociate it to try to remove it from something, and you notice it's not in this list, it's because it wasn't associated to anything. It's not going to let you try to disassociate something that's not linked to anything in the system. Now, it's not providing the list of things linked to these 2 doors. It's just providing items linked, associated to anything across my whole library. But in this case, if I wanted to remove client CTC software, I can go ahead and select that. And it's going to remove the tags from those 2 items. So now they're gone. And if I was to filter for client CTC software, I'm going to be back to the single entry that I had before. Nope, because I have to remove doors double first. There we go. So it gives me the single item. Okay. Now I want to point something else out that I just sort of showed unintentionally, and that is that when you have something more than one item selected in any one list, it turns into what we call an OR filter. In the tags, it has to be tagged with either client CTC software or doors double. It could be either one or the other, or potentially both. These are OR filters here. Okay, that's important. Other filters that you do run across, like libraries, same thing. If I choose more than one within this list, it's or, either in AutoCAD Content CTC or in Revit Content CTC. If I check both of those boxes, the content would be in either one of those libraries or potentially both. When you're filtering between two categories, like if I chose this category here, or this library here rather, and I chose a single tag here, for example, it would have to be in this library and it would have to be tagged. So between the different headings, it's and filtering, and within a specific heading, it's within there and, you know, this library or this library, and it has to be tagged with something or potentially something else, okay? So when you do multiple tags, and it's possible to do, just understand it's or, this or that. Okay, so we talked about associating tags. I didn't actually disassociate. I did disassociate a couple of things here, so that's fine. Let's see here. Let's go back to tags and re-choose doors double and hit apply. Okay, last item here is using details to validate tags, and you actually saw me doing that throughout. I do that very regularly. I like to have the details panel open when I'm doing anything with tagging, adding or removing tagging, so I can validate visually that what I thought I did, I actually did. So with Swing Double, you'll notice that it has the client CTC software tags, and if I click on the other door, it does not, because those other two doors had that particular tag removed in some of those future steps that I took. We always want to say thank you for coming to our live webinars. Not all of them are super long. We just want to make sure that they're informative so that you know exactly how to use these tools, and we thank you for attending live.